Joe will be day-to-day right now. It certainly could have been a lot worse. He's just got an ankle sprain. He'll be day-to-day. You know, after reviewing the tape, felt like the things that I probably said last night don't change. Very disappointed. When you watch the tape, particularly for how our defense played, the energy they played with, they really gave us a chance to win that game. And you look at it offensively, we did some really good things, but ultimately probably left 15 points on the field, the way that it all turned out. And that's the difference in winning and losing on the road, especially against a good team in a tough environment that's had the success that they've had. But, you know, it's a game that we lost, and we're going to win a lot of games in the future because of it, because now there's a lot of things that we get a chance to clean up that otherwise sometimes in a victory don't go unnoticed. But you know, there's some things that we can really dial in on and make sure that we're better for the future, and that our players understand those critical situations, making those plays. They played really good football throughout the game. There's just a few critical situations where Seattle stepped up and made the plays that we didn't, and hats off to them. But I know that we're going to be better for this in the future. Having lost that game is going to bring us a lot of wins.
Sam Hubbard obviously had a great game. I mean, his stat line's pretty absurd. Why do you feel like his skill set was such a nice? I mean, it's one game, but
Right.
Why is he such a nice fit for what Lou and you guys are trying to do up front?
Well, Sam's breakout game, if you want to call it that, is one of the least surprising things that I've ever seen, because he's been consistent day to day. He's exactly the type of player that you love to coach and you love to be around. And you're combining talent with relentless effort, and that usually pays off. And so, you know, some of the fronts that Lou presented yesterday put those guys in some pretty good one-on-one situations, only in pass rush and, you know, the way that they're sound fundamentally in the run game. And so, you know, Sam just capitalized on a lot of opportunities. And that's, again, like I said, that's not surprising at all to see Sam have a game like that.
When you went back and watched the tape, and it was Lou's debut too, and what impressed you about maybe how he put that thing together and then called it?
Again, another thing that didn't surprise me at all. I was around Lou's first couple games he called. If you look back in probably 2015 against the Texans and the Titans, and those defenses played out of their minds, you know, and shut down some good offenses those 2 days. So we knew what Lou had in store for these guys, and he got the guys to respond and play well and play with energy and be a connected defense, and was just really pleased with the outcome. Now, you know, the situations that arose where it was really a 4-point play at the end of the half. It was 3rd and 7. We got to make a stop there, so they kick a field goal. There's a 4-point play, and then at the end of the game, you know, we're counting on them getting that stop on 3rd and 1, so we get that ball back. But I think otherwise those guys really play their tails off, and if they play like that consistently over the course of the season, then they're going to put us in a great position to win a lot of games.
During the process of Lou assimilating this game plan, how much of it did he run by you to see what your reaction might be, or were you so consumed with what you were trying to do on the offensive side, it was like you didn't really have time to help to do that?
Lou and I talk daily, you know, and he runs things by me and Brian that he thinks are going to be good, and he wants an offensive input on it. But at the same time, these are things that we've worked on over the course of training camp, so it was really no surprise to anybody what we were doing. But I thought that the plan really came together well, and the players believed in it. They played with the energy and the detail that we needed. And, you know, they really stopped the run game and did a good job overall.
Zach, with your run game, when you got in the red zone, and I know one time it was a slippery football that derailed you down there.
Mm-hmm.
Was that part of the issue, you think, down there?
Well, not necessarily. You know, we got the holding call down there on the 4-yard line. It took us back to a 2nd goal, and that put us in a tough spot. You know, the screen that we were throwing when the ball slipped out of his hands, we felt like was going to be a potential touchdown if we can get that blocked on the perimeter. And, you know, one time we were mistargeted on the one Bobby Wagner confronted Joe on in the hole. You know, we were just a little bit mistargeted there, and so they got a good stop. But I thought otherwise, you know, they in the red zone, we just didn't capitalize on the opportunities that were given to us. Some of those were in the pass game and on screens, and again, we can't walk away with no points on those 3 dives in the 3rd quarter that killed us.
When you take the holding, that penalty and the rest of Andre's performance, how would you say you fared?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
When you
That music's very distracting all of a sudden.
Yeah, when you account for the holding penalty and just the rest of Andre's day, how would you say he fared?
I thought Andre did a really good job. You know, he really fought. That was those are some looks that we thought we might see, but we hadn't spent too great of detail running against them because it was something that Seattle really had never done on tape. And I thought that Andre and all the offensive linemen adjusted really well to some of the things that we had to kind of put in during the course of the game. And, you know, there's some situations where Connie's going to make a lot of people look foolish. But I thought overall Andre didn't back down from him. He attacked him. So did Bobby. So did CJ. Those guys just stood their ground and oftentimes held off long enough for Andy to get that ball out of his hands, and that was all we needed in that game. So really proud of those guys up front for how they handled that game.
Is there any long-term concern over 40 with him being out for multiple weeks now?
I mean, honestly, it's every day I look for the update. Every single day I come in, it's day to day, and you know, he's got to obviously go through the protocol and come out of it cleanly. And I mean, it could be over the course of one day when that happens, and we're ready to roll.
How extensive is your screen game package? I mean, you screen every which way but loose. I mean, you were screening every angle to every different position player. I mean, it was pretty, obviously you felt like they were doing something that you could take advantage of. But how sophisticated is your screen system?
We put a lot on tape yesterday, you know, and some of them felt like there were a couple more that could have potentially hit that didn't quite hit. But again, it's just a way teams got on it. We talk about three phases on offense. It's the runs, the passes, and then the screens off of it, you know. And we're not just going to be a third down perimeter screen team. We're going to be a first and second down team. And because when you play under center and you run the ball and you throw play actions and then you mix in the play action screens, we feel like that's very difficult for the defense to have an answer. And so that was the game plan for this week. You know, week to week it always changes, but it's good to put that stuff on tape. And we feel like there's a lot of things that teams are going to have in the back of their mind as they prepare for us in the future.
And it seemed like you had some open things there with the screen game. Do you have to change anything with Andy's launch angle or anything? I mean, they get some hands on it.
Rewind those clips about 1,000 times, and I'd like to see, you know, somebody get this ball around some of those guys. And it's unfortunate. Sometimes with the D-line, you're banking on them, head down, rushing the passer, and you can slip it around them, and at the last second, their eyes come up, and they shoot their hands up, and that's football. You know, we had one on the first drive that was going back to Joe Mixon on the left sidelines, and Clowney got it, and I think Clowney has the biggest wingspan of any player in the NFL. And so, unfortunately, that was a point early in the game. We didn't know where he was going to line up. And we called the play. It was a call it and run it play. And he, unfortunately, was to the screen side and was able to, you know, get his reach up to about 15 feet and bat that ball down. Otherwise, we felt like we had a good play. But there's no concerns there from Andy in terms of those batted balls. Some of them were just unfortunate.
How often did Andy check out his stuff at the line?
Andy's got full authority to do what he needs to do to get us into a good play. Oftentimes we can call multiple plays for him that he can get to, and I wouldn't really want to give that exact number, but Andy's got full control in the offense and does an unbelievable job getting us to the best plays.
What's the decision-making process on the flea flicker that was so successful? I mean, you called it at a very opportune time, obviously.
Well, I probably shouldn't admit this, but we called it earlier in the game, and Joe took a 0-yard gain. It was one of the best 0-yard gains I've ever seen because they blitzed on it, so Joe just ate the ball and took it. And so then, you know, we had to make a slight adjustment to it a little bit later. But that's Joe Mixon being a smart football player and not creating a 10-yard loss or a potential turnover by thinking, all right, coach called a special, I got to run the special. And again, that's what we're trying to get to on offense, is guys that understand the big picture like that and can bail us out of bad situations. So he did that, and it enabled us to call it at a better time. Again, that's the one where CJ was one-on-one with Clowney and fought just long enough for Andy to be able to get that ball off. But really thought that was 11 guys all being on the same page and making a great play on that one.
I know it's just one game for John, but with his success, how much is that a product of his? And you talked about a little bit about it yesterday, just his mental state, staying humble and following the process and really just taking his piece in this offense and running it.
John is very coachable. He's got the right approach every day he walks in. He's excited to be in the meetings. He's excited to practice. Those are all traits that you can really work with as a coach, because it's a guy that that wants to have success and wants to do it the way you want it done, and maybe it just hasn't happened for whatever reason. We feel like he's a great fit for the way that we want to operate on offense. His skill set is a really good fit for what we do, and he made the most of it yesterday. He, like all of our players, have room for improvement. But again, that was a good first game for John to get going and just see that, all right, I can have a lot of success doing the things that they want me to do. And I thought Andy really did a good job getting the ball to him at the appropriate times.
What's the balance for you in your first game as a play caller, wanting to show lots of stuff for people to have to think about later, but also wanting to keep lots of stuff for them to not know? How do you play that on your head for thinking of the long view of 16 games?
It is how do we beat Seattle? That is 100%. I don't care if we throw the whole kitchen sink at them. Now, you're not able to, the style of defense they played against, you have to play a certain style of offense as well to combat that. But our approach is we're trying to win every single game to the best of our ability, and it's not so much, sometimes it's just a byproduct. You end up putting some things on tape that you're like, well, that's good that it's on tape because it's going to make some people think, but we just try to win each game as they come.
You talked about the silent snap count ad nauseum, but it was so effective.
You all talked about the silent snap count ad nauseum.
It was so effective. I mean, and no glitches whatsoever. Got Cloudy to jump, in fact. So I mean, in those conditions, pretty phenomenal. What was the genesis of how you structured that silent snap count?
Well, that's a great job by Jim Turner and Alex Van Pelt, really, just making sure that both those rooms are on the same page. And, really it's the offensive linemen got to be the ones dialed in because they got the hardest jobs. You look at those tackles, they're looking at the ball, they're trying to get off the snap count so they can block those guys they got on the perimeter. And I really just thought that their concentration was impressive, especially for the first game as a unit on the road in that environment. Really proud of the way that those guys played.
Do you feel like y'all played well enough yesterday to where y'all will be, potentially better than what a lot of people projected at the beginning of the season?
We don't worry about that. We just worry about how do we win a championship? How do we improve enough to where we put ourselves in a position to win a championship? And you got to win games like that. You can't let those opportunities slip away. And so we got to make sure that we continue to raise our standard and live up to the standards we set for ourselves, that we're willing to listen to some tough criticism, make the adjustments we need to make going forward so we don't make the same mistakes against San Francisco. And again, we want to be a championship level team. Are we that yet? I have no idea. We haven't won a game yet, but that's certainly the standard we want to set for ourselves.
Follow up on that, Zach. There was a positivity in the room just talking to guys, and even yesterday in Seattle, you could feel guys felt good about the way you guys played. And you even said it yourself, and you talked about culture when you got here. Is that something, as the head coach, you wanted to put out there? You wanted to get ahead of it and let these guys understand that you did play well. Maybe you are better than people thought you might be, even though you didn't win in Seattle.
Well, we'll never accept losing, and we're all frustrated that we didn't win that game. But we're counting on the culture to get us through some adversity and some tough times. And we feel like we're sound with our X's and O's. We feel like we have good talent, and then our culture is going to be the glue that ties it all together. And so it's really hard to win every game in this league. It's been done one time. And so realistically, you have a sense that you probably won't win them all. It's how do you respond to the losing? Do you make the necessary changes? Do you make the right adjustments so that you don't lose the same way you just lost? You go win the next one. And our guys need to have a winning mentality that losing is not acceptable. But we do know that there's a lot of things we can draw from that loss that are going to help us in the future.
Did you notice that basically the reaction of the players was, you're going to be, a loss like that is tough, but, bouncing back quickly for being crestfallen or whatever. Today, have guys bounced back pretty quickly and ready to move on and get ready for, the San Francisco 49ers?
I think they have. And there's a fine line between that, right? You want guys to be hurt that you lost, and you want guys to be able to rebound when you win, for the next game. I think our guys do a good job with that. They hurt for winning that game. It's our first full game as a team, really, with these systems in place, these players in the building. There's some unknowns that come with that. And so I think we expected to win that game, and we feel like we should have won that game. But I think our guys now know, okay, we're as good as we think we can be. We can't make the same mistakes we just did, but we're a football team that's poised to do some really good things if we just continue making the improvements we need to make. And I think that's what they take away from yesterday, and that's what they should take away from yesterday.
Just a couple more, please.
Zach, if Joe can't go, what did the second half tell you about what you need to do against San Francisco, and what did you see that you might need to adapt better to?
He's a consistent, patient runner. Obviously, if Joe weren't able to play, we got some other backs we got to get ready to go. But Gio's a guy you don't have to say much to, because he's got a great football IQ. He understands the intent of what we're trying to do. He's got good patience on those screens that he hit for the long run. He did a good job. He reeled off some good runs there that were dirty runs there in the second half. He really did a nice job. So he's a guy that's dependable. You know, there were no surprises there with Gio. He's somebody we expected that kind of production from.
Last one, please. Damian Willis and Michael Jordan, welcome to the NFL in an unbelievably tough environment. They seem to act like it wasn't too big for them. Is that the way it looked to you on tape?
That's the way it looked. You know, I wouldn't. It'd be really hard to point to one player and say, man, they didn't play well. I can't say that about any of the guys that went through that game in any of the phases. And so when Michael Jordan and Damian Willis don't stand out in their first game one way or the other, that's a decent start. Now, certainly they both have room for improvement. There's some details that both of them need to improve on. And their standard is the same standard we hold Andy Dalton to and Tyler Eifert to and all those guys to, and they'll get there. But again, for the first start on the road against a defense like that, I thought that they held their own.